Hello, my friends. This was another beautiful, blessed day. A day of reconciliation. Because the reconciliation process started about 2000 years ago. So we are in the middle of reconciliation. And today I had to repair something. And I missed some parts. And I've been working for a guy, and we split a few years ago, and I never talked to him again. And I knew that he had the parts for it, but as a matter of fact, I didn't want to ask him. But I called him anyway. And then when he picked up the phone, I didn't ask for the parts. I just said to him, I call you to ask you how you are doing. And he said, well, I'm busy at the moment, so I call you back later. So I'm going to tell you about that later on. But while I was working and repairing this thing, I had to get it all. It was a pretty big job for me alone, but I managed it. And I had a talk with this woman who comes from this, always lived in this town, and I always lived in this town. So we know people here who are older, and she knew my father because my father was a very famous person, or famous. Everybody knew him because they recognized him because of his hands, which he missed. My father didn't have hands, he had hooks. People called him Captain Hook. And but then I told her that my father was resting in peace, that he died about 12 years ago. And I said, on every tombstone it says, rest in peace. I said, and that's what they are doing. They are resting in peace. So I thought, I'm gonna abuse this situation to tell her about the good news of our happy God. So she was listening and found it very interesting. She is not in religion, she don't know what evangel means and this and that. So I told her, in short, the story about the God of the universe who made everything for his goal, and that all will be reconciled back to him. And that was so nice. And she thanked me for the conversation we had, and I thanked her for the conversation and that she was listening. As she said, you're not pushing anything. You're not trying to convince me. And that's something I never do. I don't try to convince people. I tell them how I look at things, how I understand, what I believe, what I know. And then at around 7 o'clock, the guy I was working for called me, and that was such a good conversation. We had so much laughter, so much joy in our conversation. There was a kind of enmity, but it was so nice that we could laugh together, and we had great times while working, but because I was not on cloud 9 but on cloud -1 when I was working there, so I couldn't take it anymore. It's all about our mindset. How do we approach things? How do we look at it? How do we deal with it? But tonight we had fun, and that's what we are gonna have among the Celestials. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna approach those beings. We're gonna tell them and gonna show them who God is. We're gonna show them who Christ is, what He did, that we are reconciled, that He is reconciling all back to Himself.